The morning sun poured golden light over the grand estate, and the velvet courtyard glowed like a dream. Every corner was alive with colors: the deep reds of roses, the soft pinks of peonies, and the bright yellows of marigolds. Birds chirped happily, and a small fountain in the center of the courtyard whispered with gentle splashes. It was a place of peace, beauty, and secrets waiting to be discovered. Aidan stepped through the main gate, carrying a wooden easel and a bundle of paints. He had traveled far to see this estate, drawn by stories of its extraordinary courtyard. Artists from all over admired its charm, and he wanted to capture its magic on canvas. The soft crunch of gravel under his boots was the only sound until a quiet rustle came from the flower beads. Myra, bent over a row of tulips, looked up with surprise. She had lived in this estate all her life, tending the gardens and learning the ways of the land. Seeing a stranger in the courtyard was unusual, and she felt a mix of curiosity and caution. "I'm sorry," Aidan said politely, noticing her gaze. "I didn't mean to disturb. I just want to paint the courtyard." Myra studied him for a moment. There was something calm yet confident about him, a gentleness in his eyes that made her feel at ease. "It's rare to see someone here who appreciates the flowers," she replied. "Most people just walk by." Aidan smiled, setting up his easel near the fountain. "I've never seen a place like this," he said. "It feels alive, like it has stories to tell." Myra's lips curved into a small smile. "It does. Every flower, every stone has a history. Some stories are happy, some are sad." She paused, brushing soil from her hands. "Do you like flowers?" "I love them," Aidan said. "I paint what I feel, not just what I see. Flowers, they make me feel calm and inspired." Myra's curiosity grew. Most visitors never spoke about feelings, they only admired the surface beauty. But Aidan's words were different. "If you like, I can show you the best spots in the courtyard," she offered. He nodded gratefully. "I'd like that very much." They walked together, Myra pointing out rare blooms hidden behind shrubs and explaining their names and meanings. Aidan listened carefully, occasionally stopping to sketch a flower or the curve of a fountain. He admired how she moved through the garden, gentle but confident, as if the courtyard itself recognized her as part of its story. For a moment, time seemed to slow. The world outside the estate disappeared, leaving only the soft fragrance of flowers, the gentle splash of water, and the quiet laughter that escaped Myra when Aidan made a small joke about a stubborn vine. "You have a talent," Myra said after a while, watching him carefully sketch a cluster of roses. "Most artists try to paint what they see. You capture how it feels." Aidan looked up, surprised and pleased. "Thank you," he said softly. "That means a lot." The morning passed quickly. Aidan painted, Myra guided, and they shared small stories about their lives. Aidan told her about his travels and the cities he had seen. Myra shared memories of the estate, of mornings spent watching the sun rise over the courtyard. There was no rush, no pressure, just a growing connection between two people who had only just met. As the sun climbed higher, Myra glanced at the clock tower in the distance. "I should finish my work before lunch," she said reluctantly. Aidan nodded, a hint of disappointment in his voice. "I understand. But, may I come back tomorrow?" Myra hesitated for a moment, then smiled. "Yes. The courtyard is always open to those who respect it." He smiled in return, feeling a flutter in his chest. "I'll be here." As Myra walked back toward the main house, Aidan stayed a little longer, studying the courtyard through his brush strokes. He realized that this place, with its beauty and secrets, had already begun to feel like home. And somehow, in the midst of flowers and sunlight, he felt a spark of something unexpected, something he knew he wanted to explore further. The velvet courtyard had become more than a garden. It had become the start of a story, one neither of them could yet predict but both could already feel in their hearts. The next morning, Aidan returned to the velvet courtyard with a sense of excitement he had not felt in a long time. The sun was gentle, casting soft shadows over the flowers, and the fountain sparkled like liquid silver. He carried his easel and paints as before, but this time, he felt a flutter of anticipation, not just for the beauty he would capture, but for the presence of Myra. Myra was already in the courtyard, tending to a row of bright tulips near the eastern wall. She looked up as he entered and smiled, a warmth in her eyes that made Aidan's chest tighten. "Good morning, Aidan," she said softly. "Good morning, Myra," he replied, setting up his easel carefully. "The flowers look even brighter today." "They do," Myra agreed, brushing her hands clean of soil. "I think they enjoy the sunlight more than anything." For a while, they worked in quiet companionship. Aidan painted, occasionally glancing up to capture the movement of a butterfly or the ripple of the fountain. Myra hummed softly as she pruned the roses, her fingers delicate yet precise. After some time, Myra spoke. "You paint with a lot of feeling. Most artists just copy what they see, but you see more." Aidan paused, surprised at her insight. "I suppose I like to feel the place before I paint it? To understand it?" Myra nodded. "I feel that too. I feel connected to this courtyard. I think, that's why it's special." They shared a smile, and the moment felt like a small secret between them. Aidan felt a strange happiness in just being near her. Her presence made even the colors of the flowers brighter and the fountain's song sweeter. Later, Myra wandered toward a small corner where rare orchids grew. "These are hard to notice," she said, pointing to the delicate white blossoms hidden beneath ivy. "Most people pass by without seeing them." Aidan set down his brush and knelt beside her. "They're beautiful," he said. "I almost missed them if you hadn't shown me." Myra blushed slightly. "I like showing the quiet parts of the courtyard. Only those who care notice them." He looked at her, a smile tugging at his lips. "I care," he said simply. For a moment, silence passed, filled only by the rustling of leaves and the soft flow of the fountain. Aidan felt a warmth spreading through him, a quiet, growing connection that seemed to belong only to the two of them. As the morning moved toward noon, Myra shared stories of the courtyard's history. "This fountain was built by my grandfather," she said, her eyes soft with memory. "He believed that water brings peace to those who listen. And these flowers, each one has a meaning. Roses for love, tulips for happiness, marigolds for remembrance." Aidan listened intently, sketching her as she spoke, capturing not only her figure but the gentle grace of her voice and gestures. "I didn't realize a garden could have so many stories," he said. "It does," Myra replied. "And each story is part of the courtyard's heart, just like each person who loves it." Aidan looked up at her, feeling a pull in his chest. I want to be part of its story too." Myra's smile widened. "You already are," she said quietly, her eyes shining. They continued working side by side, talking about small things, favorite colors, childhood memories, dreams for the future. Aidan spoke of the cities he had visited and the people he had met, but he noticed that none of those stories felt as important as this morning in the courtyard. Myra spoke of flowers and the joy of simple routines, and Aiden realized he had never felt so connected to anyone. As the sun climbed higher, Myra glanced at the fountain and said, "I should finish my work soon. There's still much to do in the garden." Aiden felt a small pang of disappointment but nodded. "I understand. I'll wait for tomorrow, then." Myra nodded, tucking a stray lock of hair behind her ear. "Yes. Tomorrow. The courtyard has more stories, and I think you should see them all." He smiled, feeling his heart lift. "I'll be here." As Myra walked back toward the house, Aiden set up his easel to paint a last view of the courtyard before leaving. The sunlight glinted on the fountain, the petals of the flowers swayed gently, and he felt as if the courtyard itself was alive, sharing in the new connection between him and Myra. That evening, Aiden returned to his small inn with sketches in his bag and a heart full of hope. He knew that tomorrow, and the day after, would bring more than just art. They would bring moments of laughter, discovery, and something that might grow into a feeling far deeper than either of them expected. The velvet courtyard, with its hidden corners and gentle sunlight, had begun to weave its magic, binding two hearts together in a way that neither Aiden nor Myra could yet fully understand, but both could feel in the quiet stir of the morning air. The morning air was crisp, carrying the scent of wet earth and blooming flowers as Aiden made his way through the velvet courtyard. Each step felt lighter than the day before, as if the courtyard itself was welcoming him back. He carried his sketchbook and pencils, eager to capture more of the estate's beauty. But more than that, he was eager to see Myra again. Myra was already in the courtyard, tending to a patch of lavender near the fountain. Her hands moved with quiet precision, brushing aside weeds and straightening bent stems. She looked up as Aiden approached, a small smile playing on her lips. "Good morning," she said, her voice soft like the whisper of leaves. "Good morning," Aiden replied. "The lavender smells wonderful today." Myra laughed softly. "Yes. It's one of my favorites. But I have a secret to show you today, if you want to see it." Aiden's curiosity sparked. "A secret?" She nodded and held out her hand. "Follow me." They walked together through the garden, Myra guiding him past rows of roses and tulips until they reached a corner of the courtyard that seemed almost forgotten. A wall covered in ivy hid a small, arched door. It was old and weathered, the paint chipped, but it had a quiet charm. "This?" Aiden asked, surprised. Myra nodded. "Few people know about this door. It leads to a small hidden garden my family hasn't used in years." She pushed the door open, revealing a world that seemed untouched by time. The hidden garden was smaller than the main courtyard but filled with rare flowers and winding paths. Sunlight poured through gaps in the trees, casting playful shadows across the ground. Birds flitted from branch to branch, and a small stone bench sat beneath a blooming cherry tree. Aiden's eyes widened. "It's beautiful," he whispered. Myra smiled. "I come here when I want to think. No one disturbs me, and the flowers feel honest, somehow." They stepped inside together, the air rich with the perfume of jasmine and roses. Aiden pulled out his sketchbook, but Myra gently shook her head. "Not yet," she said. "I want to share it with you first. Just walk with me." They wandered along the winding paths, pointing out flowers and listening to the quiet sounds of nature. Myra told stories about each plant, how her grandmother had planted the lavender, how a rare orchid had survived many winters. Aiden listened intently, amazed by her knowledge and care for every detail. After a while, they reached the stone bench beneath the cherry tree. Myra sat down, and Aiden followed, sketchbook still in hand. I've never seen a place like this, Aiden said softly. It feels safe. Peaceful. Like it belongs only to you. Myra's cheeks colored slightly. It does feel like that sometimes. But now, it feels right to share it with someone else. Aiden looked at her, their eyes meeting. He noticed the gentle warmth in her gaze and felt a connection deeper than words. I'm glad you shared it with me, he said. I feel honored. They sat in silence for a few minutes, simply enjoying the quiet companionship. Aiden sketched the garden slowly, capturing the way the sunlight danced on the flowers and the way Myra's hair shimmered in the soft morning light. Myra watched him work, fascinated by the way he brought the garden to life on paper. I like how you see the world, she said finally. You notice things most people miss. Aiden smiled. And I like how you notice things too. Even small flowers that no one else would care about. For a moment, the hidden garden seemed suspended in time, holding only the two of them. There was laughter, a few shared stories, and an unspoken understanding that this secret place was more than just a garden. It was the beginning of a bond neither of them had expected but both felt strongly. As the sun climbed higher, Myra sighed softly. We should return to the main courtyard soon, she said reluctantly. Aiden nodded, closing his sketchbook. I'll remember this place. Maybe I can paint it someday, the way it feels, not just the way it looks. Myra smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. That would be wonderful. As they stepped back through the small door, the hidden garden faded behind them, but the warmth and connection they shared lingered. The velvet courtyard seemed brighter, fuller, as if it had approved of the secret they now shared. Walking side by side, Aiden felt a quiet joy in the simple fact of being near her. Myra felt the same, a soft happiness that came not from grand gestures, but from moments like these, moments of trust, laughter, and quiet intimacy. The hidden garden would remain their secret, a place where friendship and feelings could grow freely. And in the heart of the velvet courtyard, two souls were beginning to understand that this was more than admiration or curiosity. It was the start of something real, something lasting, something neither of them wanted to end. The morning sun was soft, but there was a quiet tension in the velvet courtyard. Aiden had arrived early, carrying his sketchbook and paints as always, hoping to find Myra waiting as she had before. Yet, when he reached the fountain, she was not there. Instead, he found the gardens unusually still. The roses seemed less vibrant, and even the fountain's gentle splashes felt quieter. Aiden frowned, a small unease settling in his chest. Myra appeared a few minutes later, walking briskly from the house. She was carrying a basket of tools, and her face showed a seriousness he had not seen before. Good morning, Aiden said cautiously. Is everything okay? Myra paused, taking a deep breath. I should have told you, she said. My family, they want me to focus more on the estate. There are meetings, plans, and responsibilities that need my attention. I can't spend as much time in the courtyard. Aiden's heart sank. He had grown used to her presence, to the shared mornings and quiet talks. I understand, he said, trying to keep his voice steady. But I hope you can still find time for the courtyard. And for us. Myra looked down at her hands, fidgeting with the basket strap. I want to, I really do. But I feel torn. There is so much to do, and I can't disappoint my family. I don't want you to think I don't care. I don't, Aiden said quickly. I care about you, Myra. That's why I want to be here, even if just for a little while. She looked up, meeting his eyes, and he saw the conflict there, the pull between duty and desire, responsibility and heart. "I appreciate that," she whispered. "I just don't know how to manage it all." They walked together in silence for a few minutes, letting the soft sounds of the courtyard fill the space. Aidan studied her, noticing the tension in her shoulders, the slight crease between her brows. He wanted to reach out, to offer comfort, but he also knew he could not take her troubles away. "I have news too," he said finally, trying to keep the tone light. "I've been invited to display my art in the city. It's a great opportunity." Myra blinked, surprised. "That's wonderful. But, does it mean you'll leave?" "I might," Aidan admitted. "For a while, at least. But I don't want distance to change anything between us. I care about you too much for that." Myra's eyes softened, but a flicker of doubt remained. "I care about you as well, Aidan. But what if things change? What if we grow apart?" Aidan took a step closer, lowering his voice. "We won't grow apart. Not if we don't let it happen. Distance doesn't mean losing someone. It means valuing the moments we have together even more." For a moment, Myra considered his words. The courtyard around them felt alive, almost as if it were waiting for her answer. The flowers swayed gently in the morning breeze, and the fountain sparkled with quiet encouragement. I want to believe that," she said softly. "But I'm afraid. I've never felt this way before, and I don't know how to balance everything." Aidan smiled gently, reaching out to take her hand. "We'll figure it out together. I promise." Her fingers brushed against his, a small connection that carried warmth, trust, and hope. She took a deep breath, feeling a courage she had not expected. "Then, let's try. Let's not let fear stop us." They spent the rest of the morning walking slowly through the courtyard, talking about small things to lighten the mood: flowers, sunlight, favorite spots in the hidden garden. Laughter returned, gentle and genuine, easing some of the tension that had clouded the morning. Yet, beneath the laughter, both felt the weight of what lay ahead. Myra had her duties, and Aidan had his dreams. They knew that the coming days might challenge their bond, testing their patience, trust, and understanding. But in this moment, in the heart of the velvet courtyard, they chose to stand together, facing uncertainty hand in hand. As the sun climbed higher, Myra paused near the fountain, looking at Aidan with a quiet determination. "No matter what happens," she said, "I want the courtyard and us to matter." Aidan smiled, squeezing her hand gently. "They do. More than anything." And with that, the courtyard seemed to glow brighter, not just from sunlight, but from the quiet promise of hearts willing to face challenges together. The next morning, the velvet courtyard felt alive with promise. Aidan arrived early, carrying his sketchbook and paints, but today he noticed something different. Myra's smile seemed brighter, her steps lighter, and the garden itself seemed to welcome them. The tension of the past days had softened, replaced by a quiet warmth that both could feel in the air. Myra was already at the fountain, arranging a small bouquet of marigolds. She looked up and waved, and Aidan's heart lifted at the sight. He walked toward her, setting down his sketchbook carefully. "Good morning," he said, smiling. "Good morning," Myra replied, returning his smile. "I'm glad you came early today." "I wouldn't miss it," he said softly. "The courtyard, it feels different with you here." Myra laughed quietly. "You always notice things. I like that." They began their usual morning walk through the flowers, but today there was a new energy in their steps. They spoke freely, laughed at small jokes, and even paused to examine the hidden corners of the courtyard, sharing observations and ideas. After a while, Aiden stopped near a bed of tulips. "Myra, there's something I want to show you," he said, pulling a folded piece of paper from his sketchbook. Curious, Myra leaned closer. Aiden unfolded the paper to reveal a detailed sketch of the velvet courtyard, sunlight glinting off the fountain, flowers painted with gentle strokes, and even the hidden garden reflected in soft colors. "I painted this yesterday," Aiden said, his voice soft. "I wanted to capture how it feels, not just how it looks. And I wanted you to see it first." Myra's eyes widened. She took the sketch carefully, running her fingers over the gentle lines. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "You've captured everything. The flowers, the sunlight, and even me." Aiden smiled, feeling a warmth in his chest. "Yes, you. Because this courtyard, it feels alive with you in it. And I want you to know how much you mean to me." Myra felt her heart race. She had admired Aiden's art, respected his talent, and enjoyed his company, but hearing his words made something stir deep inside her. I care about you too," she said softly. "More than I expected. More than I can explain." Aiden stepped closer, keeping his voice gentle. "Then we feel the same. I don't want distance or duty to change that. I want us, together, however we can." Myra nodded, a soft smile brightening her face. "I want that too." For a moment, they stood quietly, letting the garden hold them in its gentle embrace. Then, almost instinctively, Aiden reached out and held Myra's hand. She felt a shiver of happiness run through her, the simple touch carrying the weight of trust, care, and unspoken promise. "I never thought I could feel this way," Myra said quietly, her fingers entwined with his. "But I can't imagine the courtyard without you now." Aiden squeezed her hand gently. "And I can't imagine it without you. You make everything brighter, more alive, more real." They continued walking through the courtyard, stopping to admire flowers, sketch small plants, and share little stories. Every laugh, every glance, every quiet moment built their connection stronger. Even the hidden garden, once a secret, felt like a shared treasure that belonged to both of them. At midday, Myra paused near the fountain again, looking at Aiden with soft eyes. "You've changed how I see the courtyard," she said. "And how I see myself. I feel braver, happier, because of you." Aiden smiled, his own heart full. "And you've changed me too. I feel grounded here, like I belong. I didn't know a place could feel like home, but with you, it does." They sat on the fountain's edge, sharing the quiet peace of the courtyard. Flowers swayed gently, birds sang overhead, and a soft breeze carried the fragrance of roses and tulips. The world felt perfect in that moment, a moment of connection, trust, and growing love. As the sun climbed higher, Aiden pulled out a small notebook and wrote a short note, leaving it tucked into Myra's favorite flower bead, "For the girl who makes the courtyard sing." Myra found it later, smiling softly to herself. She knew that these small gestures, these shared moments, were more powerful than any grand declaration. They were building a love that was patient, gentle, and lasting, a love that could face challenges and grow stronger with each passing day. The velvet courtyard had become more than a garden. It had become a witness to two hearts discovering each other, a place where desire, respect, and deep affection could flourish together. And for Aiden and Myra, the promise of tomorrow felt brighter than the sunlight that danced across the flowers. The morning sun spilled its light across the velvet courtyard, and Aiden felt a quiet joy as he approached the estate. Each flower seemed to glow, and the fountain's gentle splashes sounded like music. Today, there was no rush, no tension, only the promise of time spent together. Myra was already in the courtyard, kneeling beside a row of daisies. She looked up and smiled when she saw Aiden. "Good morning," she said, brushing dirt from her hands. "Good morning," Aiden replied, returning her smile. "The daisies look happy today." "They do," Myra said, standing up. "And so do I, seeing you here." They began walking slowly through the courtyard, enjoying the morning sun. Today, their conversation was light and playful. Aiden joked about a stubborn vine that seemed to grow faster than any other plant, and Myra laughed so freely that he felt it was the happiest sound he had ever heard. After a while, they reached the hidden garden, a small secret they had discovered together. The flowers here seemed even more vibrant than in the main courtyard, and a soft breeze carried the scent of jasmine and cherry blossoms. They wandered along the paths, pointing out blooms and small insects, sharing knowledge and stories. "I love seeing you happy," Aiden said softly, watching Myra as she knelt to examine a small cluster of orchids. Myra looked up at him, her eyes gentle. "And I love seeing you inspired. You make everything around you brighter, even the courtyard." They sat together on the stone bench beneath the cherry tree, a comfortable silence settling over them. Aiden sketched quickly in his notebook, capturing the hidden garden and the sunlight filtering through the leaves. Myra watched him work, fascinated by the care and attention he put into every stroke. "You notice so much," she said quietly. "Not just the flowers, but everything. Even the small details most people overlook." Aiden smiled. "It's easier when I have someone to share it with." Myra reached out and brushed a strand of hair from his forehead, a small gesture of affection that made Aiden's heart beat faster. He took her hand gently, and they sat holding hands, watching the sunlight play across the garden. "I feel safe here with you," Myra admitted softly. "As if nothing outside can touch this moment." "Me too," Aiden said. "It feels like we're the only two people in the world." They spent the morning exploring, laughing, and sharing little secrets. Myra showed him a small patch of rare bluebells tucked behind a wall of ivy, and Aiden shared a sketch he had made of the courtyard at sunset, capturing the colors and shadows with gentle strokes. When they paused for a short rest, Aiden handed Myra a small bouquet he had picked from the hidden garden. "For you," he said. "To remember today." Myra accepted it, smiling softly. "Thank you. It's perfect. Just like this morning." The hours passed like moments, each filled with warmth, laughter, and quiet connection. They shared stories about childhood memories, favorite books, and dreams for the future. Every glance, every small touch, and every laugh deepened their bond. As the afternoon sun climbed higher, Aiden and Myra sat near the fountain, their fingers entwined, feeling the comfort and happiness of being together. The courtyard, with its flowers and hidden corners, seemed to recognize their closeness, its beauty reflecting their feelings. "I wish every day could be like this," Myra said softly, leaning slightly against Aiden's shoulder. "Me too," Aiden replied, resting his head near hers. "But even if days change, this, us, will remain. The courtyard, our secret, and our bond." Myra nodded, closing her eyes for a moment, savoring the warmth and peace of the moment. "I'm glad we found each other here," she whispered. And I'm glad we found each other anywhere, Aiden said gently. As the sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across the courtyard, they stayed together, enjoying the simple joys of each other's company. The laughter, the quiet conversations, the gentle gestures of care, all of it deepened their love, building trust and connection that neither had expected but both cherished deeply. The velvet courtyard, once just a garden, had become a place of memories, shared secrets, and growing love. It was a sanctuary where Aiden and Myra could be themselves, free from the outside world, and where their hearts could continue to grow closer, one quiet, perfect moment at a time. The morning sun poured over the velvet courtyard one last time that week, warming the flowers and sparkling off the fountain. Aiden walked through the garden with a lightness in his step, carrying his sketchbook and brushes. Today felt different. Today felt like a turning point. Myra was already there, kneeling among a bed of bright tulips. She looked up and smiled as he approached. "Good morning," she said softly. "Good morning," Aiden replied, returning her smile. "The tulips seem to glow even brighter today." "They do," Myra agreed. "Or maybe it's just the courtyard being happy." Aiden laughed. "I think it's both." They walked together through the familiar paths, the hidden garden waiting like a quiet secret at the far end. For the past week, their connection had deepened through shared laughter, quiet talks, and gentle gestures. Today, there was a calm certainty in the way they moved together, an unspoken understanding that whatever challenges came, they would face them side by side. After a while, Aiden stopped near the fountain, pulling his sketchbook from his bag. "I wanted to give you something," he said. He handed Myra a folded paper. She opened it carefully and gasped softly. It was a detailed sketch of the entire courtyard, the main garden, the fountain, the hidden corners, and even the small secret garden they had discovered together. Every flower, every shadow, and every ray of sunlight was captured with care. Aiden's voice was gentle. "I painted it for you, and for us. To remember how it feels here, and how it feels when we're together." Myra's eyes shone. "It's perfect," she whispered. "You've captured everything, not just the garden but how it feels to be here with you." Aiden smiled, his heart full. "And I want to stay here, with you. Not just in the courtyard, but in life. I care about you, Myra. More than I can say in words." Myra felt her chest tighten with warmth. She reached out, taking his hand. "And I care about you. More than I ever expected. You've made this courtyard, and my heart, feel fuller than I imagined." For a long moment, they stood quietly, holding hands, letting the sunlight, the flowers, and the gentle sound of the fountain hold them together. There was no need for grand gestures, no need for words beyond the ones they had shared. The courtyard itself seemed to recognize their bond, glowing with a beauty that reflected their love. "I have something to tell you too," Myra said softly, looking into Aiden's eyes. "I've realized. I don't want to let fear or duties keep me from being with you. You matter to me more than anything." Aiden squeezed her hand gently. "And you matter to me. We'll face everything together. Distance, responsibilities, life itself. But this us will stay." Myra nodded, a soft smile brightening her face. "Then let's promise, to keep this, to protect it, and to never let it fade." "I promise," Aiden said, his voice steady and full of warmth. They spent the morning walking through the courtyard, sharing small joys, admiring the flowers, sketching together, and laughing at small, playful moments. The hidden garden felt even more magical than ever, a private world that held their laughter, secrets, and growing love. As the afternoon sun dipped lower, they sat on the stone bench beneath the cherry tree in the hidden garden. Aiden rested his arm gently on the back of the bench, and Myra leaned slightly toward him. The courtyard was alive around them, the flowers swaying in the breeze, birds singing overhead, and sunlight casting warm, golden patterns across the paths. "This place," Myra said quietly, "it will always remind me of us. Every flower, every corner, it holds our memories. And every day we spend here," Aiden said softly, "makes the courtyard more alive. Just like our hearts." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the sunlight play across the fountain and the flowers. There was a calmness, a happiness that only comes when two hearts are sure of each other. The courtyard, with its beauty, secrets, and quiet magic, had witnessed the beginning of their love, and now it witnessed its growth. As the sun began to set, Myra and Aiden stood together, hand in hand, looking out across the velvet courtyard. Their hearts were full of hope, joy, and certainty. Whatever challenges came, they knew they would face them together. The courtyard was no longer just a garden, it was a home for their feelings, a sanctuary of trust, and a symbol of their love. And in that golden light, with flowers all around and the fountain singing its soft song, Aiden and Myra shared a quiet, perfect promise, to cherish each other, to nurture their love, and to return always to the velvet courtyard, where their hearts had first found each other.